Hi gang, it's me, Professor B. So what I thought I would do in today's reported study session is go over this very specific list of blogging guidance that I've put together, and so that I'm not just telling you, but that I'm also showing you. With each item on the list, I'm going to pull in examples, specific examples from 3 really outstanding blogs from former students. And I've sent you guys PDFs of these blog posts, and really seriously use them as guideposts of what my expectations are when it comes to your blogging, when it comes to this blogging assignment. Because these students in these blogs pretty much did everything right. So yeah, use those 3 blog posts as guidance for yourselves as you're writing your second blogs and also revising your first blogs. Okay, without further ado, let's get into it. The first bit of guidance is to be sure your introduction hooks, that it will get a reader's attention. And by that, I don't mean that it has to be fireworks and colorful and wacky and in-your-face writing. What I mean by that is that it has to be writing that's engaging, that makes the reader want to read on. One of the things that I noticed as I was grading the first blog post is that there were very few posts that really drew me in and made me want to read further. And another tip is to make sure that that introduction that hooks is actually connected to the point of your blog, and that that connection is clear. Because another thing I found is that there were a few posts, quite a few posts, that after I read the introduction and sort of got into the body of the post, I was a bit lost because I didn't quite know what that introduction had to do with the body of the post. So you definitely don't want to lose your readers right off the bat. So make sure that the introduction, is reflective of what the post is going to be about. So let's take a look at the 3 introductions of the 3 outstanding posts that I've sent you guys. Okay, I'm going to pull up the first one now, titled Brazilian Food Post. Okay, here it is. Brazilian Food, What to Eat and What Not to Eat is the title. Let's read the lead. As far as Brazilian food goes, there are many delicious dishes that appeal to a foreigner. But there are also those that are not as appealing. And yes, this wonderful former student of mine was an exclamation point abuser. But let's get past that. The food can generally be summed up by a few words: meat galore, rice and beans, I'm not going to try to pronounce that, and fried pastries. When visiting a different country, we are eager to try all different sorts of food. We want to indulge in everything the country has to offer, and nothing screams, try me, like food. Then, real question comes to play. What should I eat? Lucky for you, with all my years of visiting Brazil, I have developed a pretty good sense of what foods are worth trying and which ones are better left alone. Plus, I have been able to gauge my American friends' reactions towards the Brazilian foods over the years I've made them try. So trust me on this one. Okay, so this introduction, oh my goodness, yes, it makes me want to read further because I'm interested in the topic, first of all, of course, and it definitely conveys to me what the blog is going to be about, but also there are, plenty of specific examples of Brazilian food, which kind of whets my appetite. She sort of lays out the problem or sort of the issue that she's going to be writing about, which is that, you know, food, yes, is something that really draws you in when you're visiting a foreign country. But, you know, on the other hand, you can get overwhelmed, especially if it's a, you know, totally different food culture from what you're used to. And then she sort of establishes her authority on the topic, which, oh my goodness, is such a great thing to do in an introduction. And not to mention that the writing is super engaging and just fun, and I've, you know, already got a sense of her personality. Definitely makes me want to read further. So let's take a look at the second blog post, titled Hair Accessories Blog Post, if you're following along. Cute hair, so there is the title, which I love. And yes, we've got another exclamation point abuser, but let's overlook that, because at the beginning, most students are. Okay, her lead. Do you ever have one of those days where your outfit is like 99% perfect, but something is still missing? Or maybe it's one of those bumming out days where leggings and t-shirts are really all you can manage, but you still want to look semi-cute and you're past the messy hair, don't care phase in your life. Or it happens to be one of those woke up late and took a shower and what in the world is my hair doing right now, but I've got to go situations. Girl, we've all been there a few times, or maybe more. Enter the saving grace to all of these problems: hair accessories. Okay, I mean, I think it kind of goes without saying that this is writing that is engaging, right? I mean, it's really like your, you know, your one of your friends, your BFFs are talking to you. You know, it's very exuberant, but it's still, she doesn't get kind of lost in that exuberance because it's also full of really specific, right? Oh my goodness, she really gets into specifics about, you know, the situations that she's painting. So the writing is colorful, it's engaging, and it lays out, again, she's sort of doing a great job of laying out the problem or the issue that she's going to cover right there in her introduction. And at the same time, she really gets her personality in there, right? And again, this isn't to say that every lead has to be bubbly and quirky and fun, because if that's not your personality, then that's not the tone that you should be taking, right? Because that's just not going to be everyone's voice. But whatever your voice is, and whatever your, you know, your authentic, whoever your authentic writing self is, you have to make sure that that is somehow going to be conveyed through your writing. And it's really great. No better place to start but in your lead. Okay, so let's go to the third example. Who, I'm getting to be a whiz at this. Collaborate Ultra. Okay, share now. And I have two students who are blogging about movies, so this one's especially for you guys, or for y'all. Okay, this one's titled 5 Films Make Self-Quarantine More Bearable. Love the title, love that they're, you know, the promise is right there in the title. Let's get to reading. Gotta make this one a bit bigger. In the midst of a history-making disease pandemic that has resulted in life-threatening infection, death, paranoia, a nationwide economic recession, job layoffs, cancellations, and postponements, it is difficult to consider the upsides. Oh my goodness. Let's just stop right there. She has really done a great job using words to create a mood, right? She was dark, and then she kind of, you know, conveys, you know, kind of where she's going next. You know, she got you to kind of, she reminded you of the darkness of the situation, but then she's kind of, you know, she's switching gears, and she's, you know, she's taking you someplace else. So, right, you know, just that strategy engages you, right? I mean, this I would consider a contrast type of a lead or introduction, and this just kind of goes to show how just that sort of that trick, that contrast, that in of itself will serve to hook you and pull you in and engage you. Okay, so let's continue. Although social distancing may have sounded like a death sentence to go-getting extroverts, to a homebody and movie marathon advocate such as myself, self-quarantining sounded like a dream come true. However, after 2 weeks of lounging, reading, gazing longingly out my window, and hours upon hours of online movie streaming, I must admit I'm going a little mad. And if my hermit self is feeling restless, I know that the entire population is likely going stir crazy as well. So this is her, you know, this is her lead in. And we haven't gotten in, this right here is her nut graph. We're going to get into that next. But again, I hope that you guys can see, you know, how she's used phrasing and writing techniques like contrast to hook readers, pull them in, and give them a sense of where she's taking them. You know, she hasn't sort of like laid down the obvious with the nut graph yet, but she's already kind of, she's, you know, she's kind of taking your hand, right? And that's what I think all three of these leads do. Okay, so let's get back to the guidance for tip number 2. Tip number 2. Be sure you've got that nut graph in your intro. You know, that graph that tells readers exactly what you'll be doing in your post and how. And it could be as straightforward as, in this post, I will. Okay, let's draw in our 3 sample posts really quickly. I'm trying to be quicker than I usually am. Okay. That's okay. Nut graph example number 1. This blog post will give you the guidance you need when it comes to all your Brazilian food questions and concerns. If you're not able to experience those Brazilian foods for yourself, no worries. I have included some of my favorite Brazilian food recipes in my blog that taste great, made at home. Okay, so she told you what she's going to do in her blog. She's given you guidance, the guidance that you need to sort of solve that problem that she laid out in her earlier in the introduction. And she also told you how she's going to do it. She has explained that in addition to laying out the guidance, she's going to be including some of her favorite Brazilian food recipes. So oftentimes in your blog, you're not just doing one thing, right? You'll be doing maybe 3 different things. And that's what I mean when I say don't just tell readers, you know, what you're doing, tell them how. You know, just like, in other words, use that nut graph as a roadmap for exactly, you know, how your blog is going to be organized. You're going to be giving guidance, and then maybe you need to kind of give your readers a little bit more direction as far as how things are going to play out in the post. You know, it's not just going to be, you know, her specific guidance, but she's also going to include recipes in there. Okay, let's look at our second example from the hair accessories post. Have no fear, you've hit the jackpot today. I'll be showing you a few prime spots to find some of the cutest hair accessories for under $5, as well as 2 DIY ideas that get you the same cute looks for way cheaper than the boutiques, plus some outfit inspiration to pair with these new finds. Okay, so she is going to do 3 things in her blog, and she has flat out told you that she's going to be doing all of these 3 things, right? So in my opinion, a great roadmap. Let's look at the third and last example. Okay. Therefore, in my effort to help, I have compiled a list of 5 films that I believe will not only help you pass the time away, but also give some hope and perspective during these times that might just make social distancing a little more bearable. So she's sort of, there's 2 different layers of what she's hoping to accomplish in this blog and what she's planning to do in this blog. So she's really mapped out those 2 different layers. Okay, so next up, let's move to tip number 3. Tip number 3, and just FYI, there are only 6, so we're halfway there. Be sure you include specific examples and anecdotes in the body of your post. Okay, so this achieves many ends. One is that it gets your personality in your post. It helps your readers get to know you, and as in forming that bond, that personal bond with readers is super important in blogging. 2, this is how you show and not just tell, which, as we all know, is one of the foundations of good writing. And 3, it grabs readers again. It grabs those readers. It holds their attention. I mean, this is the aspect of writing, specific examples and anecdotes that keep us in the writing, right? That keep us from, kind of averting our attention elsewhere. So, gosh, I can't overstate the importance of specific examples and anecdotes. It really is the heart and the heart of good writing. The heart of a good, well-written piece, rather. Okay, so let's take a look at how our 3 outstanding bloggers achieved this. Brazilian food. Okay, hang on. My constant office mate, life mate, housemate is making a lot of noise downstairs, so I'm going to shut the door. Hang on just 1 second. Sorry about that. Okay, so right off the bat, she's giving us specific Brazilian, she's listing specific Brazilian dishes to try, right? She's specifically here, she says, so if you're a big cheese person, you do not want to pass these up. So she's, give you a specific profile of the kind of eater that would enjoy this dish. And one thing she does in this blog that I absolutely love, hang on 1 second, let me grab it. And her body, the body of her post is just all about specific examples, right? It's just, one specific example after another. But I want to show you where she kind of pulls in her own experience. believe she does that. Maybe she doesn't. Maybe it's the next one that is a good example of that. Okay, so I think it's the next, I'm sorry, my apologies. It's the next blog post that is a really good example of anecdotal, giving specific anecdotal information. So let me go ahead and grab that one. And that is the hair accessories blog post. Okay, so, oh yes, that's okay. Okay, here. She says, you know, she's talking about TJ Maxx and how she is personally obsessed with TJ Maxx, and she kind of tells you why. That she's, you know, completely head over heels in love with scrunchy scarf combos right now. I recently just bought one from TJ Maxx that goes with almost every outfit I own. I love wearing a half-up bun and putting the scrunchie around the bun part. The scarf falls with the rest of my hair and adds an adorable touch. I rock these with most outfits, honestly, but I love a good boyfriend jean, white tee, and Adidas look with these hair scarves. Oh my God, I love this anecdotal information. See how specific she gets? You see how she really kind of shares from her own experiences and from, you know, her own life. Like literally, this is like, oh, this is like sprinkles in an ice cream, you know, ice cream cone. This is the icing on top of the cake. This is the good stuff, folks. So do more of this in your blogging. Okay, let's check out the third example. Let's see how, you know, how she does as far as, again, giving specific examples and anecdotal information. So I'm talking about two things. I'm talking about specific examples, you know, of she'll, you know, making a point and then giving specific examples to back up that point. And I'm also talking about sharing your own personal anecdotal information from your life. That's two ways you can get specific in a blog, in your blogging. Okay. Okay, so let's see. So, you know, again, she's giving, you know, she's getting into specifics in that she's giving you specific examples of movies, but also, you know, she makes, let's see, she makes a point. Oh, so I think a good way to kind of explain how this particular blog goes about doing that is she gives her specific analysis of the movie. And if you're one of my two students writing the movie post, you know, a blog post about movies, that's kind of how you can put yourself in the blog by giving your specific analysis of the movie and sort of you know, backing up the point you're trying to make by, you know, giving your opinion one way or the other. So she says, you know, okay, sure, comparing self-quarantine in the comfort of one's home to isolation on a desert island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean is dramatic, to say the least. However, I do feel that the mental shock of the sudden transition from being a fast-moving member of productive society to idle isolation is similar. So, you know, she made this point, she told, and then she showed with her own opinions, thoughts, analysis. Okay, so let's get on to tip number 4, like I said, we are making good progress. You know, you can always put me on a faster speed too, if you want to speed things up a bit. Okay, so number 4, be sure you're deploying proper transitions. One great way to help transition from one idea to the next is the use of subheadings. Yeah, subheadings are a great trick in blogging. You know, transitioning is a whole nother thing in and of itself. And it really, you know, using subheadings really is a way to make it easy for yourself and help your readers, you know, go along with the post. So let's see, I'll just pull up one of the posts to make this example because I believe they all use subheadings. Let's pull up this hair accessories post. And if you're not going to use subheadings, then you definitely have to, yeah, she didn't use subheadings here, but she does have a great transition right here. Another fun DIY project is making your own hair scarves, right? Simple, another. I mean, doesn't get any simpler than that. And it helps transition from one thought to the next. So first up, transition. So is actually a transition, believe it or not. Another transition. So she, you know, her writing is a little bit more straightforward. So she's deploying one-word transitions here. Let's see. Let's go to a subheading. Uses subheadings. Okay. You know, Brazilian foods to try, and then she's, of course, gives you the specific name of the recipe. But then when she moves on to the next topic, oops, Brazilian foods to avoid, right? So she's used her subheadings. And actually, let's take a look at all 3. And this one, again, looks like it really lends itself to the whole subheading thing because she's, you know, using the different titles of the movies as her subheading. Okay, so yeah, so transitions in blogging either depend on subheadings, or if you're not going to use subheadings, be sure that you are, you know, writing out transitions, be they one-word transitions, entire phrases, or entire sentences. Just be sure that they're in there. Okay, almost finished. Be sure you have a proper conclusion. And what I think works best in blogging personally is I think it works best when you actually kind of remind readers of what you've done in your post. So kind of, you know, in this post, you know, I have blah, blah, blah. But I think that each one of these of our outstanding bloggers, the way they approached it is really smart. Let's see. This one's a long one. Okay, so with it. Okay, so this student actually, her conclusion was a few paragraphs, you know, last words on Brazilian food. So her conclusion is her last words on Brazilian food, right? So after she kind of, and she also says, you know, so I hope I was able to ease your fears and get you excited about food that will hopefully be in your near future. And then been to Brazil and have any other suggestions on what I should add to this list? feel free to shoot me an email at this is great, because this kind of elicits engagement. And also she's asking a question, so that's always a good strategy when blogging, because again, it really kind of pulls people in and gets them engaged and makes it more of a conversation. So let's see how our second blogger tackled her ending. Get to page 4. Okay, so when it comes to getting those outfits and ponytails on point and photo ready, you don't have to miss out just because you spent most of your tiny paycheck on cookie dough. You can get the same fashionable looks for super cheap by checking out clearance sections or doing a few simple crafts to make those hairdos into hair woos. Okay, adorable. So she, in a really, in keeping with her fun, exuberant tone, she has kind of repeated what she reminded you of what the blog did, right? What she hopes the blog achieved. And finally, the corn movie blog post. Okay. While I know there are thousands upon thousands of options for online streaming, I think that these 5 movies are not only incredible pieces of work, but will also offer some important perspective for our current circumstances that will help make social distancing a little more bearable. And she, again, in keeping with the tone of her blog, she has sort of reminded you, the reader, of what she did in the post. So I think all of these conclusions are perfect. And the last tip, oh, you're going to be so shocked when you read this one. The last tip is to outline first, proofread last. Guys, for real, never, ever, I hope you can hear the desperation in my voice right now, never turn in your first draft of anything to a professor or in any professional writing that you do, because first drafts that aren't proofread and revised are awful. It doesn't matter if you're, a Pulitzer Prize winning author or someone who, has just wrote your first anything. First drafts are not for public consumption. So please proofread and revise before you turn in your blogs. Okay, I hope this was helpful. As always, holler with questions. And thank you so much for showing up to my TED Talk. Talk to you soon.